I, 34 male, found out 2 days ago that my girlfriend of 3 years, we've been living together for 1, has been living a double life. I had suspicions for a while. Then day before yesterday, while she was out, I looked through her laptop and found out. She's been cheating for at least 2 years. There were emails, saved conversations, photos, and even logs of her meeting random guys she found through hookup apps and sex sites. She's been on at least a dozen platforms, actively messaging and meeting people. She even had saved folders of pictures, screenshots, and even some videos of the guys probably saved from their sexts. It took me a day to go through it all. There was so much. I also found proof that she spent thousands on male and female escorts and experiences over the past couple of months. She never told me any of this, obviously, and had been using money from her savings and credit cards to cover it all up. We share finances for some things, but I had no idea she was racking up so much debt. I believe she has some sort of sex addiction. I confronted her, and she completely broke down. She cried, apologized, and said she's scared I'm gonna leave her. She claims she has a problem and doesn't know why she did it, that she's willing to do anything to fix this. Then she dropped the bomb. She admitted she caught an STD about a month ago and never told me till now. I'm furious and terrified. I need to get tested ASAP, but I'm waiting for my insurance to kick in, which just makes everything feel worse. I'm gutted. I loved her so much, and I wanted to build a life together. I can't believe this is happening. She's begging me to give her a chance, but I don't even know where to start. How do you reconcile something like this? I feel so lost. I can't eat, can't sleep, and can barely focus on work. I just want to run away and never look back, but part of me still loves her and feels like I need answers. Update. It's been a little over a week since I discovered my ex's double life. After confronting her, I decided to ask for no contact while I process everything. The past few days have been overwhelming, and I feel like I'm barely holding it together. But before we went no contact, I told her how I felt, that I don't believe she's truly scared of losing me, but scared of being alone. I told her it seems like she's more afraid of not having someone to listen to her or talk to her than losing me as a person. At the time, she just cried and apologized, insisting she loves me and wants to fix this. But I can't help feeling like she's trying to cling to the life we had, not me as a person. Since no contact started, I've been hit with waves of loneliness. But the hardest part isn't being alone. It's missing the person I thought she was. I keep replaying our relationship in my head, wondering how I missed all the signs and whether there's anything I could have done differently. It's not just about cheating or even the lies. It's the complete betrayal of trust and the life we were building together. She's been trying to respect the no contact boundary, but I know she's struggling. She sent me one last message before we cut ties, saying she understands my decision but will never stop loving me and wants me to heal, even if it's without her. I want to believe she's being sincere, but it's hard to know what's real after everything she's hidden. I've been talking to close friends and family, trying to focus on work and distract myself. But it's hard to think about anything else. I'm waiting for my STD results, and the fear of what those might reveal have only added to the anxiety. I'm trying to figure out how to move forward, but the idea of rebuilding trust seems impossible. I'm mourning the loss of the life I thought we had, and it's going to take a long time to figure out what comes next. Edit. I got my STD panel back. I'm clean like a baby's butt. That was a huge relief. Edit 2. One of her friends messaged me today to say X has been going for treatments for her STD and is supposedly turning her life around, and asked if I'd consider getting back with her. She said she needs support because she's so traumatized by the diagnosis and the treatments. I didn't reply, just simply blocked her and moved on with my day. Story 2. It's been 4 weeks since I found out, and it still does not make any more sense. I can't help but ask, why? It's been 4 weeks since my D-Day. In some ways, I feel very fortunate with how we handled the fallout. There's no doubting I was betrayed, but she's done everything she can to make my existence less painful over the last few weeks. She's cut all contact, endlessly apologized, lets me ask questions, and gives me honest answers. I still don't know why it happened, but in some ways, that just makes everything harder. It makes it harder to know if I'm making the right decision by trying to stay and work things out. I want to stay, but the nagging thought of the possibility of experiencing this all again in the future makes me shiver with anxiety. I've become an animal. I track everything and am the most vigilant detective. My partner's not good at telling lies or keeping secrets. It didn't take me long at all to find out what was going on, even though she had my full trust. She is honest when she tells me there are no faults in our relationship. Everything was great in her eyes. She mentioned often how our sex was great. She is and was then truly smitten with me. I could see it in her eyes and actions. I gave her the world, and she threw it in my face. It blows my mind how someone so sweet, caring, and loving can do something like this. Why would someone in a satisfying and promising relationship have a sexual fling? It's even more bizarre to me that there was no emotional component to the affair, just sex. Why does this shit happen? How can I ever get closure without knowing why this happened? If she's capable of this, then anyone is capable of this. I would have never imagined myself being able to do such a thing. It seemed so obvious that I could never do something so cruel. But now I'm second-guessing myself. Am I just as deluded as she may have been and I just don't know it yet? Is she just a victim of opportunity? I hope in the weeks to come, my thoughts aren't plagued by why. Hope everyone else on here is hanging in there. The why is probably the hardest part to let go of because it's human nature to want to understand and rationalize something so irrational. Here's the thing. Sometimes there isn't a satisfying answer to why. Sometimes it's about opportunity, bad judgment, or deeper personal issues your partner hasn't even figured out yet. It doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it easier to accept. But it's rarely as simple as you weren't enough. You gave her the world, and she's admitted there were no issues in the relationship. This is 100% on her. That said, your vigilance and constant detective work are natural right now, but it's exhausting. You can't live like this forever. If you decide to stay, trust might be rebuildable, but only if she's willing to do the work and you're both willing to face the long road ahead. Ultimately, it comes down to what you want. Can you see a future where this doesn't define your relationship? Or will the anxiety and mistrust eat away at you? Whatever you choose, just remember, her actions were about her flaws, not yours. Stay strong, man. Now for comments. I hated the feeling of insecurity knowing I was the person that could do something like this. I know there are those that say anyone can cheat. And although technically that's true, I also think it's a cop-out. I've not cheated on a partner, nor would I ever. My self-respect is more important than any other needs I have. When I tried to stay with a cheater, I couldn't stand the fear and insecurity knowing that the first sign of trouble, or if I didn't do everything right, he'd be out looking for love in all the wrong places again. It was too stressful and was turning me into a person I didn't want to be. I think the decision to stay or go is very personal. But I also think discussion forums like this help us make more informed decisions. In my experience, the why questioning was pretty persistent for a while. It's tapered off a bit now, mostly because I basically figured out the why. Since he'd been with me for a long time, he took for granted that I desired him, and that was no longer enough to make him feel good about himself. He liked the feeling of a new person, any new person, i.e. anyone other than me, being desperate to have sex with him and liking it once they got it. We're all capable of feeling this way, but especially vulnerable to it when we have low self-esteem, as my husband does. Ultimately, he was selfish and entitled enough to follow that desire. He was and remains and probably will always be committed to his base selfish desires over me and our relationship. That's the why. If I had to guess, I'd say your wife's the kind of woman who needs endless approval from people. She can never quite get enough, and she needs to work on this with therapy. So yes, there was nothing wrong with your relationship. She just needed more doses of affirmation than any one person could provide. She might be lying about the lack of an emotional component. Sweet, caring, loving women aren't the type who are just in it for the raw sex.